Save me a seat. Monday, chicken fingers. Chapter 1, Ravi. Most people in America cannot pronounce my name. On the first day at my new school, my teacher, Mrs. Beam, is brave enough to try. Sir Yan Ye Nay, she says, her eyebrows twitching as she attempts to say it out loud. Surya-ne Rhiannon, I say slowly. She tries again, but it is no better. I'm going to have to work on that, she says with a laugh. I laugh too. Surya Rhiannon is my surname. My first name is Ravi. It's pronounced Ra-V, with a soft Ra and a strong V. In Sanskrit, it means the sun. In America, people call me Ravi, with the stress on the first syllable. That doesn't mean anything. Patience is a virtue, Amma reminds me often. She believes that with time, people will learn how to say our names correctly. My grandmother tells her not to hold her breath. We moved to Hamilton, New Jersey a few months ago, May 13th to be exact. I am fresh off the boat, as they say. My father got a promotion at his IT company in Bangalore, so they transferred him to America. In India, Amma, Appa, and I had our own house with a cook and a big garden. We even had a driver to take us wherever we needed to go. My grandparents lived in their own flat nearby. Now we all live together in a townhouse in a place called Hamilton Mews. Things are very different here in America. Appa takes the train to work. We don't have a cook anymore, so Amma has to prepare all the meals herself. Our new house is much smaller than the old one. There is only one bathroom upstairs, which I share with my grandparents. I wouldn't mind so much except that Paripa likes to take long showers and Parima leaves her teeth in a glass by the sink at night. I learned to speak English when I was very young. We speak mostly English at home, and I went to an English medium school, but for some reason, people here in New Jersey have trouble understanding me when I speak. I am trying to learn how to swirl my tongue to sound more American. My grandmother doesn't like it. Be proud of who you are and remember where you come from, she tells me. If you're not careful, you'll turn into one of them. Your grandfather didn't slave in the tea plantation so that his only grandson would become some rude, overweight, beef-eating cowboy. I don't think Parima likes America. My school in India was called Vidya Mandir, which means Temple of Knowledge. My new school is called Albert Einstein Elementary. Parima could hardly wait to show off to all her friends at home that her grandson had been accepted to a school named after a scientific genius. I am not a scientific genius, but I am a very good student. My favorite subjects are math, English, and sports, especially cricket. Boys and girls, please welcome our new student, Ravi, Mrs. Beam says after she has taken the roll call. He's come to us all the way from India. Isn't that exciting? Mrs. Beam is short and round. When she smiles, her eyebrows touch each other. As I look around the room, a sea of mostly white faces stares back at me. I feel a little nervous. It is my first day of 5th grade in room 506, and I am the only Indian in my class. There is one other, a boy named Dylan Samreen, but he doesn't count. He is an ABCD. American-born, confused Desi. Desi is the Hindi word for Indian. I can tell Dylan is an ABCD because he speaks and dresses more like an American than an Indian. Tell us something about yourself, Ravi, Mrs. Beam says, smiling at me. Yes, ma'am, I say, standing at attention. Everyone laughs. Mrs. Beam clasps her hands. Boys and girls, where are your manners, she asks. Go on, Ravi, we're listening. I push up my glasses and continue. My name is Ravi Suranarayan, and I just shifted from Bangalore. Everyone laughs again. What's so funny, I wonder? Mrs. Beam claps her hands. Her eyebrows are twitching like mad. Boys and girls, is this how we welcome a new student to Albert Einstein? The room gets quiet. The spotlight is on me. I can feel the whole class staring. This is my first day of school in America, and things are not going well. Mrs. Beam turns to me. You can call me Mrs. Beam, she says softly. And Ravi, here in America, students don't need to stand up when the teacher calls on them. Do you understand? Of course I do. I push up my glasses and rub my nose. It's something I do when I'm nervous. Mrs. Beam comes over to my desk. She has a look of pity on her face. Don't worry, Ravi, she says, patting me on the shoulder. You can introduce yourself to the class later, after you've had a little time to work on your English. We have a very nice teacher named Miss Frost in the resource room. I'm sure she can help you. I want to say, number 1, my English is fine. Number 2, I don't need Miss Frost. Number 3, I was top of my class at Vidya Mandir. But here's what I do instead. Number 1, push up my glasses. Number 2, rub my nose. Number 3, sit down and fold my hands. My friends and teachers at Vidya Mandir would have a good laugh if they could see me now. Their star student taken for an idiot. What a joke. Mrs. Beam is writing out our homework on the board. I open my notebook and carefully copy down the assignment. Out of the corner of my eye, I see Dylan Samreen staring at me. He looks like a movie star straight out of Bollywood. His long, shiny black hair falls over one eye. With a quick jerk of his head, he shakes it away. Then he smiles and winks at me. I smile back. Dylan Samreen may be an ABCD, but I think he wants to be my friend. Chapter 2, Joe. Kira, you have to leave right now. Go close the door and go outside. I'm doing a reading out loud on a video. Go. Sorry about that, kids. This is what happens when we teach from home. Chapter 2, Joe. My name is Joe. But that's not what most people call me. Not at Einstein, anyway. I've never been a big fan of school except for lunch. Eating is the one thing I'm really good at. I've always been tall for my age, but lately I've been growing so fast my clothes don't fit anymore. Even the ones we bought a few weeks ago. I'm always hungry. A lot of kids wouldn't be caught dead eating school lunch. They call it mystery meat and slop, but I don't mind. Every week it shows up in the same order: chicken fingers, hamburgers, chili, macaroni, and cheese pizza. By the way, it's not a coincidence that Tuesday is Burger Day and Wednesday is Chili Day, because at Einstein, hamburgers get recycled. It's not as bad as it sounds. The leftover burgers from Tuesday get dumped into a big pot with beans and some other junk, and presto changeo, on Wednesday you've got chili. Everybody knows I don't talk much at school. My best friends, Evan and Ethan, used to call me Blabbermouth as a joke, but I guess I'm not going to be hearing that much now, since they both moved away over the summer. To be honest, they were a little weird, but I'm going to miss them anyway. Evan, Ethan, and I ate lunch together every day last year, and they had to go to the resource room for extra help, same as me. Not that we had the same problems. For one thing, they were both super hyper and I'm not. This year, I'll have to go by myself to see Miss Frost, and I'm not sure who I'm going to eat lunch with. Probably no one. People think you're unfriendly if you don't talk to them, but they don't understand that it's a problem for me, that it's so noisy in the cafeteria. My brain and noise do not get along. Last year, I had Mr. Barnes for my teacher. Mr. Barnes is epic. He can bounce a hacky sack off his knee 100 times without messing up. I had never even heard of a hacky sack until Mr. Barnes brought his to school. It was pink, which Dylan Samreen thought was hilarious. He said something mean about it behind Mr. Barnes' back, and all the girls laughed. Sometimes I wonder what's wrong with girls. But then I remember I already know what's wrong with girls. Everything. Mr. Barnes is African American. He shaves his head and wears bow ties. The real ones you have to tie yourself. He must have talked to Miss Frost. I'm sorry, I lost my place, because that happens in real life too. He must have talked to Miss Frost about me, because he never asked me to read out loud in front of the class or come up to the board to do math problems. He understood those things are hard for kids like me. Some people don't mind having everybody looking at them. Dylan Samreem, for instance, he wears his pants pulled down low with his underwear sticking out on top. He wants people to see it. His boxers have dollar signs on them, or dice or lobsters, and he has special ones for holidays too, with candy corn or Christmas trees, or red hearts for Valentine's Day. Dylan is famous for his boxers, but his real claim to fame is his tongue, which is long and pointy like a devil's. When he sticks it out, it makes the girls scream. He thinks he's the smartest kid at Einstein, and he might be right. He's definitely the meanest. Sometimes I wonder what it would be like to be Dylan Samreem, but that isn't something I'll ever know. Mr. Barnes was the first teacher I ever had who liked me. Miss Frost likes me, but she likes everybody, so it doesn't count. On my final report card, Mr. Barnes wrote that I was a valuable member of the community. My mom was so proud that she stuck it on the refrigerator with a magnet. It's still there. Today is the first day of school, and Mr. Barnes is the first person I run into when I get here. He's wearing a red bow tie with little blue whales on it. I'm pretty sure it's new, or at least I've never seen it before. Last year, Mr. Barnes had 17 different bow ties that he always wore in the same order, starting with the green one with white diamonds and ending with the orange and purple striped one. Mr. Barnes' bow ties were another one of my favorite sequences. "Yo, Joe," he says, "how's it feel to be a fifth grader?" "Good," I tell him, "at least so far." Maybe this year will be different, I think. Maybe Dylan Samreem won't be in my class, but when I get to room 506, there he is, standing over by the windows with his underwear hanging out. Polka dots. Lucy Mulligan and a bunch of her annoying girlfriends are standing around him chanting, "Do it, do it, do it." They want him to stick out his tongue, but Dylan won't. "Come on, Samreem, let's give them what they want," Tom Dinkins shouts before sticking out his tongue and wagging it at the girls. Tom Dinkins is a Dylan Samreem wannabe. The girls don't care about his tongue. "I warn you," Dylan tells his fan club, "I think it grew a little over the summer." Lucy and her friends start jumping up and down screaming, "Ew!" One thing I will say about Dylan Samreem, he really knows how to play a crowd. All the screaming starts to get to me, so I do the in 2, 3, out 2, 3 breathing Miss Frost taught me. If that doesn't work, I'll have to use my earplugs. I always keep a pair in my pocket, just in case. They come in different colors, but I like the tan ones best because they don't show as much. They're made out of some kind of squishy foam rubber, and when I wear them, I can still hear people talking, only it's softer. Like when you're underwater or have a pillow over your head. I'm allowed to wear my earplugs in school whenever I want, but mostly I use them in the cafeteria or the playground and in gym class. "Settle down and take your seats," announces Mrs. Beam, my new teacher. This is her first year teaching at Einstein, and she looks a lot younger than any of the other teachers I've had. She's shaped kind of funny, wider on the bottom than the top. And she's shorter than me, which is weird considering that she's my teacher. She seems nervous, and there's something freaky about her eyebrows. At Einstein, kids have to sit in alphabetical order. Every year since kindergarten, my seat has been right behind Dylan's. I know the back of his head by heart. Mrs. Beam has made name cards for us and put them on the desks, but when I go to take my seat behind Dylan, somebody's already sitting in it. He's a shrimpy-looking kid with thick glasses and greased-down black hair parted on one side. I've never seen him before, and I'm not sure where he's from. His skin is darker than mine, but not as dark as Dylan's or Caleb Burrell's. When I look at the card sitting on his desk, I see his name is about a mile long and full of Y's and A's. He seems kind of nervous, too. He keeps rubbing his nose and looking down at his hands, which are folded in his lap like he's in church or something. His shirt is so white it hurts my eyes to look at it, and he's got it tucked in and buttoned up all the way to the top. When Mrs. Beam asks him to tell the class about himself, he stands up like he's in the army and calls her ma'am, which is about the only word he says that you can actually understand. Everybody starts laughing, and for a minute, I think, hey, maybe 5th grade isn't going to be so bad after all. Maybe Dylan Samreem will decide to pick on this new kid with the weird name and the funny accent instead of me.